Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome and a very good evening to you. The topic for our debate this evening is, I think, the question that is uppermost in the minds of everybody. It gets asked perhaps 100 times a day. Who is going to form the next government? It's a $1 trillion question, quite literally. We are a $2 trillion economy today. And whether over the next 5 years we add more than $1 trillion or less than $1 trillion to that economy will depend on who forms the government. So we have a very simple debate. It's a three-way debate. Is it going to be a Rahul Gandhi-led UPA Congress? Is it going to be a Narendra Modi-led BJP NDA? Or is it going to be a somebody-led third front for 2014? And we've got a spectacular lineup of debaters for this evening. Let me welcome them one by one on the stage, and then I'll give you quickly the rules, and then we are ready to go. Sam Pitroda, who is going to be speaking for Rahul Gandhi led UPA. Sam. Sam is an extraordinary person. I have a little, small, very tiny, 30-second story. It is in the middle of 80s, and I was a rookie reporter for Doordarshan. And Sam had just come across from America at the invitation of Rajiv Gandhi to set up CDOT, Center for Development of Telematics. And I had gone from Doordarshan to interview him. I think it was one of his first interviews. And I was astonished when I met him sometime back that he still remembered that interview. So Sam is a mentor. He is someone I have looked up to, and I'm so delighted that he's here. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
The second speaker for this evening, and he will be speaking for the Narendra Modi-led BJP NDA coming to power. And once again, a very good friend, Piyush Goyal. Piyush, would you please come up? One of the most promising young parliamentarians and politicians in the country. Also the fact that Piyush is, by virtue of being the treasurer of the BJP, he is going to sign off on their media campaign. So I've got to be good to him tonight. They will be deciding very soon on how much they will spend on each network. And last but by absolutely no means the least, we've got the youngest and the newest entrant into active politics via the Aam Aadmi Party. We've got Meera Sanyal. Meera, would you please come up? And Meera will be defending the motion that it's not going to be the UPA or the NDA, it's going to be the third front. Now, I want to assure everybody that I'm equidistant from all the speakers, because in her earlier job, Meera was with RBS, and RBS has been one of the bankers for Network 18. And the one rule that all entrepreneurs know is never, never offend your banker. So as you can see, I'm equidistant from all three. I am equally partial to all three. So we are ready to go. The rules of the debate are, each speaker will have 3 minutes to make their point. There'll be a gong at the end of 3 minutes, and I would request the speaker to wind up very quickly. At the end of the first round, we will have a 2-minute rebuttal for each speaker, and that would be the end of the debate. Before we begin the debate, you have a gadget in front of you. Everyone's got a small gadget, which is a voting gadget. This vote will not be known to anybody, not the speakers. It will be only known to me. At the end of the debate, we will vote again to see who has been able to swing the audience. So you've got 3 buttons there. If you believe that it is going to be a Rahul Gandhi-led UPA, press A. If you believe it's going to be the Narendra Modi-led NDA BJP, please press B. And if you believe it's going to be the third front, please press C. You have 10 seconds to vote, and do remember that your vote will be registered only when the green light comes on the gadget. So the time starts now. Please vote A or B or C. And remember, you have to have the green light showing. That means your vote has gotten registered. Good. So I hope everyone's been able to vote. As I said, we will vote again at the end of the debate and then reveal the results to our audience. So we're ready to go. Sam, the floor is yours, 3 minutes, and you are going to defend the idea of Rahul Gandhi-led UPA.
First of all, I want to remind everybody that Congress is a grand old party with history of about 125 years. Ups and downs, struggles, accomplishments, but at the end of the day, Congress gave us independence. Gandhi, Nehru, Patel, and hundreds of others helped build this nation. If you look at the noise today in the system and begin to understand the signal, you come up with a very different story. And the story today is that we have done a great deal in the last 10 years. Forget about all those people who say you haven't done anything. They just don't know. If you get 8% growth for 7 or 8 years out of 10, that's pretty good accomplishment. You look at same thing in education. We set up a National Knowledge Commission. Today, 20% of our kids can go to college. 10 years ago, 10% could go. Right to education, right to information for transparency, accountability, health. And the list just is big. Take, for example, agriculture. We have had the biggest year in agriculture this year, ever in the history of this country. I work with technology, and I know the kind of things we have done in technology. We are spending 100,000 crores in building information infrastructure to democratize information. People just don't read here. People don't understand. We build National Knowledge Network at the cost of 10,000 crores to connect all our universities, all our libraries, all our R&D institutions. The amount of things this government has done is just unbelievable. Congress gives stability. We have seen it in the past, that's the only way to get stable government. In spite of coalition, Congress could survive for 10 years. If you want a government for 2 years, maybe you ought to vote for somebody else. If you want government for 10 years, you got to get serious. And I have seen it all. I worked for 7 prime ministers in this country. And let me tell you, it is not about average guy running the government. It is about collective leadership. It's about vision. Of course, corruption is always an issue. I will not forget in 1980 when Rahul Gandhi was told that you are corrupt. That killed him. So corruption sells in this country. You can say Sam is corrupt, people will believe it. Enough. Get on to the basic. Learn what we have accomplished. And don't outsource your thinking. I think Indians are outsourcing their thinking. Think for yourself, and you will find out. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sam. The spirited defense of the Congress's record and work for 7 prime ministers. Piyush, all yours, 3 minutes.
Thank you, Raghav. Compliments to Sanjay and his team at CNBC for 9 years. But most surprisingly, I find it strange that you choose to launch Bazaar in Gujarati today. Maybe the flavor of the nation's mood today. But this election is going to be all about change. It's going to be a vote, a referendum on leadership. And I think the people are looking for a leadership which is honest, a leadership which is visionary, a leadership which believes in action and not just mere acts. The country today is at the crossroads. We have had a situation where misgovernance is at its worst. The fiscal mismanagement is bothering all of us in this room. Corruption has reached such heights that we can't even calculate those figures anymore. And finally, the economy is in a doldrums. We've almost reached a situation of stagflation. and what brought us over here. When Mr. Vajpayee took the reins in 1998, he faced similar problems. Inflation was in double digit. The economy was down to growth of about 4.2%. He inherited current account deficits, a huge debt, but he was focused. He was focused on growth. He was focused on good governance. And in a span of 6 years, on the back of significant fiscal consolidation, on the back of reform, which brought power sector reform to India for the first time, which brought deep dive into infrastructure development, banking, insurance, pension opened up for the first time. You saw Electricity Act being amended in 2003, which brought private entrepreneurs into power generation. All of this led India from a 4% growth to an 8.5% growth, with inflation down to sub 4%. Interest rates came down to less than half. The bank rate came down actually from 12% to 5.71% in that span of 6 years. And companies who are sitting here were actually borrowing at 7 or 8%. We left behind a robust economy with current account surpluses for the last 3 years of our government, and also a situation where external debt was under control and general well-being of the economy was hailed, even by the Economic Survey of 2004. Well, growth at 8% for 4 or 5 years did happen in UPA 1, coupled with financial mismanagement, corruption at its worst, and no growth beyond what Mr. Vajpayee left. And after 10 years, where do we stand? Double-digit inflation for the last 6 years. The economy has come down to growth of 4.5%. What we need is a leadership which provides vision and a bright future for the youth of India, engaged in good jobs, empowered and not entitled.
Thank you. Thank you, Piyush, for a very spirited case. I'm a bit surprised. Both the speakers made a very spirited case for their parties, but both did not mention their individual leaders by name. Neither did Sam talk about Rahul, nor did Piyush talk about Mr. Modi.
Last 2 minutes.
It's a given.
It's in the rebuttal.
It's a given.
Yeah, but Meera, you've got a problem of plenty. You've got too many names to insert. The latest being Arvind Kejriwal. There is, of course, Mulayam Singh Yadav. There is Jayalalitha. There is Nitish Kumar. Mayawati. There are a lot of claimants for the third front leadership. Naveen Patnaik. I should not be actually saying these names. I could be missing out so many of them. So the floor is yours. 3 minutes.
Thank you, Raghav. So let me be very clear. I am not representing any third front. I'm here to speak for the first front, the front of citizens of India. And I speak for only one party, and that is the Aam Aadmi Party. So no speaking for any third fronts or second fronts. The people of this country have had a choice between the B team and the C team for a very long time. Now you have the chance to vote for an A team. A famous economist once said that politics is a choice between the unpalatable and the disastrous. And we as our nation have known for a very long time, unfortunately, that's all we've had to choose from. Many of you here know that I stood for elections in 2009. The common theme at that time was, don't vote for independents, they are spoilers. In 2013, that's what they said of the Aam Aadmi Party. They said, don't vote for the Aam Aadmi Party, they are spoilers. And indeed, that's what they have done. They have spoilt this cozy party. I mean, one party accuses the other of corruption, and yet the MCD in Delhi is known to be the most corrupt municipal corporation possibly anywhere in the world. We don't have to make that choice. The choice between, as other people said, let's vote for the lesser evil. The people of India no longer have to make that choice. You can now vote for the greater good. And I think that's what they will do in 2014. I want to say this. You know, we are ranked as one of the most corrupt nations in the world. But I believe that we are a very hard-working, extremely entrepreneurial, very innovative, very decent, and very honest people. But sadly, our leaders, especially our political leaders, do not reflect those qualities. They do not represent us. Mr. Pitroda talked about the Congress Party leading us to independence. Yes, the people who led us to independence were people with ideals, with integrity, with intellect. They cared for this country. They put this country first. It is now time for a second independence movement with a group of people who do the same, who lead with integrity, who are clean, who are competent, and who care for this country above themselves. All over the world, we have seen people rise against political establishments that are venal, which are corrupt, and not in touch with their people. In 2011, we saw the Arab Spring. I say to you now that it is time for an Indian monsoon. Let us sweep Indian politics clean. Thank you.
So it was a passionate speech, Meera. Unfortunately, didn't quite defend the motion. I'm curious, since you've spoken, you never named it, but you spoke for the Aam Aadmi Party. I'm curious, today the Aam Aadmi Party has rolled back the decision of an earlier government. Governance is about continuity. Is this what the Aam Aadmi Party is expected to do, roll back earlier decisions taken by earlier governments?
Well, I have to say that perhaps they follow the precedent of the current government, which has gone against established tax rulings. We all have heard about the case of Vodafone. So when a government goes back against itself, no, not necessarily. I mean, it's also a question of what you believe in. They don't necessarily believe that multi-brand FDI is acceptable, and that should be okay.
Okay, even though governance is about continuity.
Well, certainly not about continuing bad practices. Let's be very clear about that.
Okay, accepted. Well, we have rebuttal going. We have 2 minutes for rebuttal from every speaker. Sam, floor is yours.
Young India would need young leaders. You need someone who is 45 and not someone who is 60. My colleague here talked about numbers. Looks like he's an accountant. I'm not interested in numbers. I'm interested in inclusion. I'm interested in lifting 300 million people who are below poverty line. It is not just about business. Maybe this audience is only interested in creating more billionaires. I'm not interested in that. Of course, it is good to have more billionaires. We got to lift 300 million below poverty line. We got to continue globalization, privatization, liberalization, free market economy. We got to create more jobs. We cannot look at India with the mindset of 1950s. We are a global player. We got to be everywhere. 550 million young below age of 25, to me, is the workforce for the world. And we know how to fix it. Of course, there is corruption. I don't like it, you don't like it. But don't assume that everybody is corrupt. People go out and tell that everybody is corrupt. This is exactly what you did to Rajiv Gandhi. It's all lies. And I tell you, we don't need saintly politics. We need visionary people. We need people who would take risk. And we definitely need people who are in 40s and not in 60s. That's what I would go for. You need people who understand technology, not just the jargon. You need educated people. You need people who can stand in front of leaders of the world at G8 or G20 and not talk about criticizing everybody. Our leaders know only how to criticize everybody else. It is this fellow didn't do that fellow didn't do it. What the hell did you do? I think it's about time you begin to understand the facts.
Thank you, Sam. Interesting point Sam made about people in their 40s. So Rahul is in his 40s. Arvind Kejriwal is in his 40s. But Mr. Modi is in his 60s. So are we talking about age by years or age by
Experience.
Your floor is yours.
Well, I think age is a matter in the mind, which his own Honorable Prime Minister said. And I think age is about experience, age is about actual track record and performance, and not just making 2 interventions in 10 years in Parliament, briefer than probably the smallest intervention that I have made in Parliament, which are more than 15 in my 3 years. Clearly, this country is looking for a visionary leader with certain concepts and clarity of mind, which only Mr. Narendra Modi, who represents the BJP-led NDA, can provide to this nation. We have a plethora of young leaders. My leader sitting in front of me, Mr. Chavan, is in his 40s, and we have a number of leaders across the country who collectively provide good governance to India and to the states in India. I think I'll just outline the design principles on which Mr. Modi plans to run his government. A, we believe in minimum government, maximum governance. B, we believe in skill, speed, and scale. We believe India has to rise. India has to move forward fast. We don't have the luxury of time. We also believe empowerment is the need of the hour, not doles and entitlement. We don't want to institutionalize poverty. We want sustainable development which moves people out of poverty on the long run, in the long run, and does not just financially mismanage, sell the country's assets only to feed people temporarily without giving them a long-term solution, whether it's jobs or sustainable employment.
So sad that you said
I did not disturb you. I think Gujarat today with the lowest unemployment at 1%, growth at over 10% CAGR for the last 10 years, manufacturing sector the highest in the country, agricultural sector growing at over 6.5% CAGR consistently. That's the model that the country is looking for. That's the path of development and progress that we are looking for, which we offer to the people of India.
Thank you, Piyush. So now the last rebuttal of the day, that comes from Meera.
So I have to thank Sam. I think he talked about this country needing leadership which was visionary, in its 40s, savvy with technology, and which could stand proudly in front of the world. I say to you, ladies and gentlemen, there is only one party that meets that criteria, and that's the Aam Aadmi Party. As far as Piyush was concerned, he talks about enterprise. I think that is absolutely true. We saw, Dheeraj Rajaram come up here and create $1 billion enterprise. What we need in this country is 1 billion entrepreneurs. That's what we need. And what holds them back? I was delighted to see this young man succeed. But you and I know, ladies and gentlemen, that it is today practically impossible to set up or to run or even to shut a business in India. The corruption and red tape and bureaucracy that paralyzes you at every step of life is holding the Indian economy back. We need a party, we need governance, we need leadership which will tackle this head on. Politics today has become about money power and muscle power. I'm sure there are many of you in this room who have been approached to fund the national elections in 2014. These very same parties have refused under the RTI to disclose who their donors are. What are they afraid of? Where is the transparency? These are the things which holds India today back. We need our country to progress. I think the writing is very clearly on the wall. These are the politics of a past generation. There is a beautiful song which I would just like to quote before the gong rings. It says, "Chodo kal ki baatein, kal ki baat purani, naye daur se likhenge hum, milkar nayi kahani. Hum Hindustani, hum Hindustani."
Thank you, Meera. Would have been lovely if you had sung it the way Arvind Kejriwal sang at his oath-taking ceremony. Okay, so the power ultimately is with the people. You've got the gadget in front of you. You have 10 seconds from the time I say now. You have 10 seconds. Please remember again to get the green light on, because that's when your vote gets registered. A for Rahul Gandhi, B for Narendra Modi, C, I will still say third front, although Meera did not talk about it. Go right ahead.
Third front, first front, please. Please put the vote on the right place.
Go right ahead. Your time starts now. Okay, it'll take about a few seconds for the results to reach me. I have the results of before the debate started. Sam, it was a very difficult job you're doing. 10 years of double anti-incumbents. Very difficult. I mean, I must tell you, so it's a very difficult.
But you have to keep at it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Piyush, you had the other side. You had the incumbency, anti-incumbency advantage going towards you. You also have a victory which has buoyed you over the last, in the last month. And I must say, Meera, that you have the guerrilla honeymoon period of the unknown. So the unknown ideologue, and you've got the honeymoon period going. So those realities are reflected in the numbers that I had before the debate. But I still want to wait to get the numbers after the debate to see what the delta was, who was able to move the needle. Okay, there you have it. There you have it. Well, okay, so clearly the BJP is leading by a very large margin. Sorry, I will. I will just tell you. The Congress is down to 6. It seems to be, after the Delhi elections, a fairly habitual sort of number. And the third front, which is the Aam Aadmi Party in this instance, is surging. Now I'll tell you what happened before the polls. Congress was 10% before the polls. So Congress came down from 10 to 6 after the debate. The third front, or the Aam Aadmi Party, and this is again, it's the romance of the gorilla, went up from 18% to 39%. So, so Meera added 21 percentage points to the Aam Aadmi kitty. The BJP led by a very large margin in the initial poll, 72%. Piyush, you still lead 54%, good enough to form the government, and that's ultimately what matters in a first-past-the-post system. You've got to have just 1% more to form the government. So there you are, ladies and gentlemen. A big round of applause for our three debaters for a wonderful outing.
Yeah.